Hi everybody, delighted to be here. I want to talk to you, and I'm going to stick to my 8 minutes. You can hold me to that. I'm going to give you two messages that really bring together a number of the things that have been said earlier today, including by the Prime Minister, by Commissioner Breton, and actually just now by Cecilia as well. Those two messages are to the point, and they're very policy related. My name is Christiaan Smits. I'm head of public policy for Cloudflare, for EMEA. I'm based in Brussels, so I do follow a lot of European policy, but we look at policy across the globe as a team. Very briefly, a few words on Cloudflare. We're a young company, 12 years old, 13 years old. We have a global network, kind of on top of the internet, in 300 cities in more than 100 countries. About 20% of web domains globally use our services. And we are connected, our network is connected to 12,000 with direct connections to other networks in the world, including ISPs, cloud providers, large enterprises. That's very important. I'm going to get back to the point of interconnection. About 95% of the internet-connected population in the developed world is located within 50 milliseconds of our network. It is in fact one of the most interconnected, but also one of the fastest networks. And we block about 140 billion cyber threats a day. Why do I tell you this? Not just because we're fantastic, we are, but it also gives us a very unique vantage point of what happens on the internet. And we're learning lessons from that. I want to share two of those lessons with you today. Let's take a step back. We have this internet. We have a well-functioning internet. What composes a well-functioning internet? As you all know, the internet is not one network. It's a network of networks which are interconnected with each other. And also, from the start, it's been about open and free connections, open and free peering. And lastly, the internet is decentralized and scalable, which really helps it in its ability to service everybody. So we've got these critical elements of a well-connected, well-functioning internet, and it's been amazing, hasn't it? Look at what it does for society, what we've been discussing today. This is our joint effort, a joint global effort. Now we also need to defend it globally, together. Interconnection, as I said, this is what I want to talk about. Interconnection is very much related to the resilience of the internet. We need to maintain the existing nature of free and open peering of the internet. Why is that? Well, it's logical, isn't it? A distributed global network allows traffic to bypass congestion. Actually, data can flow in many different ways. So if a cable gets cut here, data can find another way to find its goal. Open data flows, absolutely critical. The other element, interoperable systems and protocols. That means we have to encourage interconnection to improve the efficiency of the internet, but also its resilience. Now that may seem like a very simple and logical thing, but that's actually, as a policy notion, something that we've been discussing in Brussels very recently. You may have heard of this fair share debate that's been going on, where there is an argument for network usage fees, and part of that has actually been about mandated peering agreements. If you make peering agreements mandatedly negotiated and not free and open, that means there might be less interconnection. If there's less interconnection, there is less resilience. Think about that. Then, the second thing, data localization. Now, Cecilia just mentioned the Ukraine, and actually Ukraine is still running, which is a testament to interconnection. Another lesson that the Ukrainian government has learned was about data localization. In fact, the Ukrainian government has had to retract its data localization legislation in order to allow data to be moved out of the country and into the cloud. So those are lessons to be learned. We're worried about data localization. Why? Because attacks are increasingly informed by AI. That means that we also have to use AI as a cyber defender to counter attacks. What do you need for that? You need the largest possible data set. It has been said many times. What happens if you localize data, if you make it less available to actors across the globe? The AI, the machine learning, can use less data. So data localization works against large data sets, which makes it less effective to use machine learning and AI to counter cyber threats. Something to think about again. Something we're worried about. The other thing is, and that goes to how Cloudflare works, as I said, we have this global network. What we should not do is limit the use of global networks in their overall capacity to manage these attacks unnecessarily. And this goes to that point of working together globally. The more we allow each other access to the right kinds of data, the better these systems function. We have very powerful security tools, but we need to be able to recognize anomalous traffic as soon as possible. That means that we need to see as much as we can. Again, sounds like a logical notion. Did you know that the Data Act, the EU Data Act, in its final chapter about international transfers of non-personal data, actually tries to limit the use of that data and did not make an exception for cybersecurity-related data? That's a bit of a worrying thing, isn't it? We haven't really thought about that. So we need to think through what kind of data flows need to be allowed to be open, what kind of data sets need to be allowed to be accessible for cyber defenders. I've got 2 minutes left. I think I'm going to give you one back. What's my conclusion? We talked about resilience, we talked about security. I think I wanted to connect a few points, a few strands together here in one go. If you want to be able to defend the internet properly, you have to make sure it stays open. That means free and open peering and better interconnection. What you also need is large data sets, so don't localize data unnecessarily, so that cyber defenders have access to it and can use the best possible tools to defend that beautiful global internet that we've created together. Thank you very much.